let's talk a little bit more about sourdough because I heard a lot of things about it online, like it is really healthy for you, it is good for you. So I did a little bit of an investigation, and it turns out that sourdough is indeed really healthy for you. But why is it? Why is it that sourdough is so good for you? So, to start, sourdough is like an active dough. So I don't know how much you know about making bread, but normally when you make bread, you put yeast in the bread. And yeast is like a bacteria that you can just buy. You can buy it fresh and then it's in the fridge and it's alive, and you need to use it very fast, or you have dry yeast and then you need to use a little bit more and it will get active while the bread process is going. And that is actually what causes the bread to be like with a lot of air in it. So it causes to be fluffy. It's what makes bread soft. Otherwise, it would just be flour or a bump of flour. And that would not be good. That would be just be very tough to eat. So that's what yeast is. And actually, what you do with sourdough is making that yeast natural. So you're not buying the yeast, but you're making the yeast just by letting your flour ferment. So that's actually the reason why it is so healthy, because fermented things in general are very healthy, and it will cause it will um, it will make your body absorb the minerals much better than with normal bread. So it will make your minerals, it is just very good because your minerals get absorbed really much better in your body. So that is why it is very good. So now, how the hell do we start? Because you see, like, sourdough starter, let's make sourdough cookies, let's make sourdough everything. You can find everything. But the one thing they all have in common is that they use in their recipes a sourdough starter, and that is actually flour mixed with water, letting it ferment. So letting it just be in your kitchen for a few days, and then it will start making wild yeast. It would just appear with the bacteria in your air, with the water and the flour. It will all mix, and you will just get fermented flour, and that is actually wild yeast. So, to me, I think it's really amazing that you can just make make it with just flour and water, so you do not even need to buy yeast. And also, when you start with a starter, you can also keep it alive. So if you keep feeding the starter, you can keep it alive, and you can actually keep making bread with the same starter. Because I was in San Francisco in the summer, and they're making, it's really famous in San Francisco, sourdough, and they use the same starter as they were using like so many years ago, so you can just keep it alive. And that's pretty cool, I think. So it really fascinates me that you can do something like that. So I started it myself, but I'm just at the start, so I cannot give you all the information yet because I'm still investigating it myself. But I started with the starter. That's where you start, at the start. So, what is this? What do you need? I so I make bread a lot at home, but I make it like with a machine. So we just put in the flour and everything, and it just mixes and bakes it all at once. And now we got like a new machine, and this thing was with it. So I was like, oh my god, it would be perfect for it. But if you read a recipe, it probably says that you need like a glass jar or a glass bowl, and that's perfect too, because you need to be careful with plastic, because not all plastics can, yeah, are good for it, because some plastics will react with the sour, with the, yeah, with the the things that are fermenting in here, it can be really tough. So you need to be careful. I would honestly recommend glass, but I just had this. This is honestly like made for this, so that's why I put it in here. So you need a glass jar or a plastic jar. It doesn't, yeah, it does matter, but if you got like, if you know this is good plastic, you can also use plastic, but I would recommend glass. If I will also test it in glass to see if that makes any difference, because I honestly do think it's going to make a difference, but I just didn't have like a good plastic jar that was big enough, so that's why I use this. So you do with that information what you want. So we will start by adding flour and water, just the same amount. So if you add, for example, 100 grams of water, you need to add 100 grams of flour. So just the same amount. Then you mix it very well, and then you just let it sit. But be careful, do not put a lid on, because now, is it possible that there is air going inside the container? No, it's not. So the natural yeast cannot be in contact with the flour. So it is important to, you can choose, or you can leave the lid like on with like a little bit. You see that there is a little like this, that the air can still go inside, or you can choose to put like a towel over it and then put an elastic band around it, and then so that there can be air inside but no animals or flies or anything. So you can choose whatever you want, whatever you think is the most convenient for you, and then you just need to let it sit for around 24 hours. Then you need to stir it again. Then you need to let it sit for another 24 hours, and then you need to feed it. You need to feed it, you need to put more water in and more flour, and then hopefully it will start rising and bubbling and forming the active yeast, the active wild yeast. So I will keep you posted on how this is going, and I hope you feel inspired to maybe also try something like this, or just, yeah, do what is right for your body, because that's what I'm trying to do, just making things that are healthy for my body. So I'll keep you posted. Talk to you soon. Bye.